Hello everyone. In this video, we will be discussing about a storage account, which is an Azure service. So before getting inside storage account, let us talk the need about this particular storage. So these days, not only the IT professional, even a normal human being also have a requirement of storage. These days, storage has become a primary requirement. Let's take a use case of a normal human being. So they might have files, and that files might be different types. Like let's say they might have a requirement to store video, they might have a requirement to store audio files, video files, and then some document files. Let it be anything. So this might be a use case where a normal human being might need the storage. And when we talk about IT professionals, especially a developer, the developer might go for creating a structured data, and he might use that structured data in his app. So if he's an app developer, okay, he might use that particular structured data. So for example, you can think of your database. So database will be creating data in terms of a fixed schema. So it'll have attributes and then the real tuples, everything will be there. So this might be the use case of this application developer. When we talk about the systems admin, so he might be having lots of scripts and he might need these scripts for, executing as part of his day-to-day activity. He may have even JSON document or he may have XML document. So the use cases are varying when compared to the different people. So when we classify these use cases, for example, like if you take this video, audio, and doc, they fall under unstructured data. Okay. And when we talk about this tabular, it's a purely structured data. So structured data in the sense like every data has a fixed, structure. And these things, okay, let's forget about script. Maybe when you talk about this JSON and XML, okay, say they are semi-structured data. So any data we store on cloud can be classified as these three types, like structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. Let it be whatever the use case is. We can go for one solution in Azure as a storage account. A storage account is an account where we get cloud-based storage, where we can store data like files, blobs, queues, and tables. And this storage account is a serverless storage. Serverless storage in the sense, so in cloud, you need not have any compute power to store the data and access the data. Let's say that you have a data stored on cloud. If you have a normal computing device with you, and if you have internet connectivity, and if you have stored some data, and then anytime you can access it. So to store a data and receive a data, you don't need any compute power generated on the cloud side. So that's why it is called as a serverless storage. So let's deep dive inside the storage account. So the moment I say storage account, okay, this storage account provides us 4 different types of, services. From them, we can create our individual resources. If you ask me, the first one is blob. Second one is file share. And then we can create a queue and table. So these are the 4 different types of services we get it in storage account. And again, this blobs can be classified as 3 types. Blob, page blob, append blob. So if you ask me, what is this blob? It's binary large object. So binary large object. And it's like an unstructured data. So that's what video file, audio file, all those things, you can think of them as a blob data, simple. So these are the 4 different services we will be getting from Azure, a storage account. So the moment I create a storage account, okay, these 4 services will be there. And if I want, I can go and create or use any individual services. Next, again, when we are creating a storage account, so we have to select the SKU or the performance. So SKU stands for stock keeping unit. Okay, so this will decide what type of performance we get it from the Azure. So there are two SKUs. One is a standard SKU. Another one is a premium one. So in the standard queue, you can go for creating all of them. Like you can create blob, file share, and then queue, as well as table. Whereas the moment we go to premium, so we can't have a premium as queue for queue and table. The rest we can create, like we can create blob, okay, or page blob. We can create a premium account for this particular use case, or even we can use it for a file share as well. We can create premium, or we can use this queue, premium queue for file share as well. Okay. So let's again go back here. So blob means like we have three types. So all of them are having a different use cases. Okay. And we also have one more type called file share. If you ask me what is this file share, it is for storing large file, we can say. It's not only for storing large file. If you want to, share it with multiple VMs. Let's say that you have VM1, VM2, VM3, or even you can think of your device from on-premises. So they all can have a connectivity to this particular file share, files or services, and they can start using them. So we will have a demo on this file share. So how to create a file share and connect to a VM, so that we will have in this video. And we can create queue. So when the queue need will come, let's think of a developer, and developer is developing an application. In that application, there are two functionalities. Let's say application functionality 1 and application 1's functionality 2. Now, if this application wants to send some data, or if this functionality of this particular application wants to send some data to this particular functionality, they can leverage the queue. So what happens here? So queue is a data structure. So this application function can be keep on adding the data here in the queue, and this function can receive the data. Maybe it can put it in the database, or it can process and then later add to the another storage account. So there are multiple use cases with the queue. So the moment I talk about table, you can think of your database. So in case if there is any requirement for database creation, we can even go with the storage account, and we can create a table resource, and that table resource can be used for our application. So these are the four different types of services we get. And again, this blob, page blob, all are, like you can put a video file or an audio file or a normal document file, let it be anything. So append blob we use usually for storing the log related data. So this append blob is used for storing the log data. It means, let's say that you are running an application, and this application might be receiving requests from any part of internet. So how many requests is flowing to this particular application, and from where that request got initiated, and then whether that request was processed or not processed, in what was the situation where that application request was not processed. All are, the log data we say. And if you have any use case to store that log data, and then we can think of this particular append blob. Append blob, as the name suggests, already there are some data, and you want to add some more data at the end, then you can think of this particular append blob. So use cases are varying, and we have different types of services here. We can leverage any one of them. Okay. So that's about the overall idea about the storage account. In all these cases, we can go with this particular storage account. It's a cloud-based storage, okay, where we can put our files, blobs. Again, there are three types of blobs, queues, and tables. Fine. So we need to discuss one more thing, and let me bring down these components. Yeah, what is that if you ask me? Okay, let's say that you are creating a storage account. And after creating storage account, you get four different types of services. And under any one of them, you might add your data or file. Okay. So how the file will be stored in Azure so that whenever we need a file, that data will be available. So usually Azure stores our file in 3 copies. So even though there is only one file you're storing or uploading to Azure storage account, and that file gets copied as replicated as 3 copies. So we can think of it as replica 1, redundancy also we can say. Redundancy 1 copy, redundancy 2 or 3. So one file will be in 3 different copies. What is the use case? If in case you have only one copy and by chance if that copy got deleted due to some hardware failure or what, so in such cases we might lose our data. So Azure internally, see this selection is not in our hand, so minimum 3 copy must be saved. The redundancy will be 3 copies. So why? Because if one hardware fails, there will be another hardware will have the same data, so it will increase the resiliency. It means in terms of failure, we still have our data. So that is the reason the storage account will store our copies in 3 replicas, we can say. Okay, but we have a, call where these 3 files can be stored. And for that only, we have a concept called LRS, ZRS, GRS, and GZRS. So this is locally redundancy storage, and this is zone redundancy storage. This is geo redundancy storage, and this is geo zone redundancy storage. We will see what exactly it is. I'm just giving the abbreviation. That's it. So this will decide where this 3 copy, at least 3 copy. In sometimes it goes for 6 copies. We will see in now when it go for this 6 copy, but minimum is 3 copy. Let's go and use this diagram. And before you going that, so like whenever you're creating a storage account, you select a region where you want to put the data. So let's assume that it is East US. So I chose a region as East US. So this will become a primary region for my data. So whatever the region I select, that region will become primary region for the data I'm going to store. Okay. Just think that. So I'm going to store a data and I selected East US. Then this is the region where my data gets stored. So when you are creating a storage account, you have a parameter that where you will be selecting which region, and you will also select any one from this parameter also, like how your 3 copy must be replicated and stored, where exactly it will be stored. So there are 4 options. Let's discuss them. So you all know about the global infrastructure of Azure. So it starts from region. So we have multiple regions. Inside the multiple region, we have availability zone, right? So let's think this is East US region, and then we have totally 3 availability zone. Let's say AZ1, AZ2, and AZ3. So 3 availability zones are there under this particular region. And why I have to chosen East US? Because as I said, like if you are creating a storage account, you have to select a region. So we will go with this East US. And this, let me write all of them here. Let's say that first option for you is LRS. Second option is ZRS, GRS, and then GZRS. Okay, let's go with the first one. When I choose LRS, yeah, 3 copies will be stored. As I said, 3 copies will be stored. But where exactly the 3 copies will be stored, that's what will be decided by this redundancy. So when I say locally redundant storage, then all the 3 copies will be kept in one availability zone. Simple. If this data is not available due to some hardware failure or network issues, if this data is not available, immediately we have a redundancy here, and through this our data will be available. See, it's very simple. I have only one file, so content is file 1, that's it, but that file gets replicated into 3 copies. If one copy is not available, we get that content from the other copy. Simple. But what if the entire AZ goes down? Still will not have our data. So what we can do, go with the other option, that is ZRS. It is zone redundancy storage. So in here, what happens? Still the same 3 copy. Here also 3 copy. In this also, we have 3 copies only. But where the 3 copy gets created, there is a difference. So every copy will be replicated in all the availability zones. So there will be one copy in one, zone 2, zone 3 each. For example, if this copy is not available or due to some hardware fail, if it is not available, our data will be still available from the other 2 copies. Fine. If the entire AZ is down, still our data is available from other 2 AZs. Simple. Now, we might have a question. What if the entire East US region is down? These days, it's happening, right? Yeah. Again, you can have a different type of redundancy. That is geo redundancy service. This is zone, availability zone. And we can say geo. It's almost like region. So when you have 2 different region, and if you are going to store or replicate your data, and then we go with this geo redundancy, we can say. So in here, how the data gets stored, as I was telling, at least 3 copy. So the moment we go with using geo, then there will be 6 copies getting stored, replicated. So one file will be stored in 6 different copies. Okay, where exactly those 6 copies will be available? It's very simple. In primary region, so that is our East US, there will be 3 copy in one availability zone. And secondary region, so there will be one region automatically selected by Azure. So this region will be called as paired region. See, we don't have any choice of selecting this. Okay, it will be done by Azure automatically. Okay, every region will have a paired region, and in that region, there's another 3 copy gets stored. So in the other region, the paired region, in one of its availability zone, all the 3 copies will be kept. Okay, that's another thing. So like if one region is down, then still our data is from other region. And we also have one more redundancy, that is geo zone redundancy service. So in here, how the things will happen. In the primary region, it will be replicated to 3 availability zone, but in the secondary region, it will be there in only 1 availability zone. Simple. So totally, when we go, the moment you go with G, there are 6 copies. All the 6 copies, how they have kept. So I just gave you an overview. And that's about the theoretical concept about the file storage account. Let's do a small hands-on. So in our hands-on, what are we going to do is that we will create a storage account. We choose a primary region, maybe East US, and we also choose the redundancy as LRS. Let me keep it very simple. I can choose any, but I choose, let's say LRS. And then after that, we will go and create a file share. So file share, as I said, so you can store large amount of file and you can share it with multiple VMs from either from Azure account, or it can be even from on-prem data center also. And that is going to be our demo now. Let's begin. So let me go to my Azure portal. So this is the home page. And let me go to search for storage account and select the storage account. Let me create a storage account. Okay, I need to select my subscription and which region resource group I want to put. Let me put it in SA. I have to give a storage account name, and this must be globally unique. So you make sure that you are giving somehow a unique name. So it says this, even though I have this, I'm giving some random number. It says that that storage account has been already taken. Let me go with some other number. Yeah. So if there is no any error, it means this account name is available for us. Let me put it in East US. And then I'm going to leave this unselected. And as I said that there are two SKU, right? So when we were discussing here, we said that we have totally two SKU. One, we can choose standard, the other one is premium. And that's what I'm making. So I'm just going with standard. So the moment I say standard, I can create all these services. But when I go with premium, this queue and table is not available. Okay. Redundancy. This also we have discussed. What redundancy you want? You can choose any one among four, but let me go with LRS. Next, I'm not going to explain anything in this, and let me keep default. And in the networking, I need this storage account to be accessible from all the other networks available in the internet. So all networks publicly available means, yeah, if they are available on internet, then they can get accessed here. And I'm not going to change anything here. And in the data protection, I don't want these option. It's almost like, soft delete. It's almost like our recycle bin functionality. Accidentally, if in case you delete your blob or container or file share, okay, it can be kept in Azure account for some time period. You can set even the time period. So if it says like if you accidentally delete and it will be there in our recycle bin for 7 days, anytime we can bring it back within the 7 day. After that, the data gets permanently deleted. Right now, I don't need that particular option. I can simply say review and create. And it will do the validation. Once the validation completes, then I can create it. Yeah, let us wait until this gets completed. And meanwhile, instead of waiting, let me go and create one VM. And I try to access the file share from that particular VM. Let me go and yeah, this is the account. Quickly, I'll create a VM. Virtual machine, create a VM. Let me put it in my Azure POS sponsorship and go for resource group as SA, and then let it be VM1, the name of my VM. Southeast Asia region, I can go anywhere. Availability zone, I don't have any option. I can simply say no redundancy, standard, let it be 2019 data center, and give the username also as VM, give the password, a unique password, strengthened password must be given. Okay, and that's it. Let me say next and say review and create. It says validation failed. Everything is okay. Let me just try once again. Yeah, validation passed. Sometimes, let me create it. Anyways, meanwhile, when it is getting created, let me just go in here and go to my storage account. As I said, like if you go to your storage account, you get lots of information. But as we discussed, like you can go for blob service, file service, queue service, and table service. These are the four different services we get. And the same thing you can even get it here, data storage. So if you go to data storage, again, you have table, okay, queue, file share. That's a file service. Okay, what is this container? It's very simple. So as I was telling, blobs are of three types. Like we have blob, page blob, append blob. All of them will be contained in this container. So first I will create a container. It's a place where we are keeping all the blobs, all the three types of blobs. So with respect to container, what we do, first we will create a container. Let me just create one. It contains blob. You can give any name. I'm just giving some different name, like it says contains blob. It means what? This particular container can have files, and that files may be of these three types. See how? I can just show you that as well. So when you try to upload a file, and when you go for advanced option, see you have a blob type. It can be blob, page blob, or append blob. So when you are uploading a file, what is a blob you can select here. So that's the thing. And anyways, now we're going with the container file share. So let's go to file share, create one file share quickly. And for creating a file share, I have to go to this file share under the data storage, add a file share. Let's give a name, FS1. Okay, let me put it in lowercase FS1. And this file share access tier. So you have created a file share, and let's say like this. So you have created a file share, and you want to access this particular file share from your VM, or even it can be your personal laptop also. Okay. So how much performance you need? Like only one VM are you going to connect, or are you going to connect multiple VM? In such cases, the performance matters a lot. And that's where you choose any one from them. So let me go with this transaction optimized. And I'll go to backup and I uncheck it. If not, a recovery service wall gets created for the backup. I don't need all those things. So I'll just uncheck it and I'll say review and create and create. It doesn't take much time. Okay, a file share got created. It's almost like this. We created a storage account. Let's assume that this is a storage account. In the storage account, you can create 4 different types of services, but I didn't create all. I have created a file share. So let's assume that this is file share. And inside the file share, I'll be putting my file. So file 1, file 2, file 3, hundreds of file I can put it. And once I have the file here, I can have my local system or a VM created, and I can access them from this particular file share. Simple. Now, for that, let me add some files. This is my file share. File share is a container of files. Okay. Let me just upload some file. Browse for file. Let me add these 2 files. And here you don't have any advanced option for selecting blob, block blob, or page blob, because that is only for the blob storage. But this is a file storage, a file share. Let me say upload, and it got uploaded. Okay. Either if I want, I can go to this VM and connect to it, or even I can connect to my local system also. Okay, let me try to connect to my local system by opening a PowerShell. Let me run it as an administrator. Let me put it here. Trying to run some commands for connecting my VM or my machine. So I have here, now I have a machine, I am here, I'm connecting to my machine, and from this machine, I want to access this particular file share. Simple. For that, the one easy way is that we can simply go to the file share and select this connect. And if in case somehow you miss this, what you can do, you can go to your storage account. Okay, even you can go from the beginning, like this is your storage account. Inside the storage account, you can go to file share. Inside the file share, you go to your file share, which you have created. And now you get this connect option. So the moment you click connect, it gives us the necessary command for connecting to the other machine. Let me just select some other number, let's say Y, and so the script, because my machine is running Windows operating system, I need the Windows operating system related command. So what it does, The first command will check whether my Windows operating system will allow a connectivity at the port number 445. So if you ask me what is that port number 445, it is for SMB connection, server message block. This is the standard protocol will be used by any file server for sharing the file. The similar concept is also implemented in this file share also. Okay, let me just copy this command and execute it in my PowerShell. So it will check and now it will try to connect. Take some time, let us wait. Yeah, it is connected to my system now. I can say it's a Y drive, right? I can simply say CD Y. Sorry. Yeah. So I mean, so inside my Y drive, say it is the same. Let me say LS. Simple. So those two files which I have uploaded is visible in my system. I'll just show you that as well. Like if you go to browse, you totally have two files and the same file is there here. I just created a VM, but there is no use case because I did connect to my system itself. Fine. So that's how this file share can be created, and the same can be attached to some of the VM. So right now you can think that this file share got attached to an on-prem device. The same you can even attach it to Azure devices also. And thank you. Thank you for patiently listening to my video. Thank you.